Hello, Govind Vasantha. Welcome to Film Companion South.
Thank you.
We are going to talk about three eras of film music. And to give you an example of what happened, the Carnatic musician T.M. Krishna, a couple of years back, we did that with him. So he spoke about the MSV era in Tamil film music, and then he spoke about the IlayaRaja era, and then he spoke about the Rahman era. So, it's always fun to hear a musician's perspective on musicians, right? Because you have all these insights that lay listeners like many of us don't have. So let's start with the MSV era, and feel free to extrapolate to Malayalam film music or any other southern film music that you feel that kind of a thing. So when you think of that era, that is, let's say the 60s, pre-Raja 70s, what is the song or songs that come to mind?
Frankly, I haven't explored that much into that era actually, but MSV definitely, but not like IlayaRaja and A.R. Rahman, because I am more like a IlayaRaja, A.R. Rahman, Santosh Narayan space. But definitely, MSV is for me what I got inspired from is very. He was very rhythmic composer, very rhythm based. His rhythms were like hardcore. That bongos and the drums and everything he uses like in every emotions. He pulls it off like crazy, and the arrangements are very fresh and very Western classical stuff. அவளுக்கென்ன அதோட பேக்கிங் வந்து வேற லெவல். Even now it's fresh, and a lot of other songs this and he used choruses like huge choruses, like it sounds big. MSV for me was more like a blues, jazz, Western kind of a backing with a heart touching melody. This Malandu Malraga, and even the fast song like this song. What was that song?
Engeyum Eppodum. I knew that's it. Yeah. Same movie, but I got a different song. Yeah.
Engeyum song. It's a freaking melodious song.
Yeah.
Very melodious. If you sing it slowly, Engeyum Eppodum. It's a very melodious song, and his beats are like headbanging grooves.
Yeah.
Full on headbanging and the chords, and he has this very different kind of order to songs. There is even in this song, this comes from nowhere. That is very non-filmy in that era. I wonder like how he composed.
One thing that I personally love MSV for is that era, whether it was with Ramamurthy or after they split up and he came up with the thing that if there were 4 lines in the Pallavi, all the 4 lines will have a different melodic tune. So it won't be like one line, then repeat one line, and then second line or third. It'll it'll just start and then go somewhere else and then go somewhere else, and he was not necessarily looking for closure, for closing that melodic loop. He would just go and then kind of that was something that I really love in his songs, because
formation of the songs are very different.
Yeah, so I was like wondering if you as an independent musician, as a rock musician yourself, you kind of, is that something that you've noticed?
Yeah, that's what and the kind of changes of notes or scales he uses are very independent music. Next line is very different, and there is a chord change, and that is outstandingly beautiful. It's not at all filmy. It is not a filmy song. It's a very, when I play it in a violin, it sounds like a English, Western classical song, Bach.
You're talking about that that one.
That
Okay.
one, that one. That is that's not in that what is called raga or scale.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Till then he changes only one line, but that creates another kind of a mood.
Right, right. What's really interesting is that he was supposed to not be a like a composer in the Raja sense, because like he was more of a like a sit down and kind of not a person who wrote the music, but kind of so I sometimes wonder how they did it in those days, just do you have any clue from the way Malayalam film composers of the time used to do things?
I think in that era we had MS Baburaj, who's my most favorite, one of the most favorite music directors. He used another this thing. For me, Tamil music was always, even now, arrangement wise, it's much uh, you know in a higher level than Malayalam music. Arrangement la vandu, if the same era we were more into melodious,
Yeah,
emotional kind of thing. MS Baburaj was very Hindustani. The that Thomas Devaru and songs like that are like, you don't need any backing, you don't need chords.
yeah, yeah.
You can sing it without any melody, because of that melody itself makes that emotion, and everything you needed in that, you get that. So he was the uh, I would say the equal person from Malayalam industry that time. He was more into melodies, and the melodies were like, he was also not like an independent music, but very ghazalish, very odd notes he used to compose. There is a song, അസ്തമന കടലിനകലെ അകലെ അകലെ ഒരജ്ഞാത ദ്വീപിലെ അരയന്നങ്ങളെ അരണനനെ ആര് ദൂതിനയച്ചു താരരെ ആര് ദൂതിനയച്ചു.
Wow.
ഇറ്റ്സ് വെരി, അங்கங்க പോയി ഇങ്ങங்க പോയി അങ്ങ് വേറെ മാതിരി ഒരു ട്യൂൺ അത്. സോ
Right.
ബട്ട് ഇറ്റ്സ് എ വെരി ഫേമസ്, വെരി ഹിറ്റ് സോങ്. So that's how it doesn't have to be simple. The music doesn't have to be simple to
Yeah,
understand.
that's interesting, because that's the theory that people usually give, that for film music, if people want to hum it, then it should be simple. That's what
That,
people say.
that he made it, film music. At least for some time, we made it as a tool to promote the film.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We didn't see it as a separate art form. We have only that's how this 3-minute songs came, because we had IlayaRaja composing Padariya Padipariya. It's not an easy song. It's a freaking amazing hit song. It's not an easy song to sing or to learn, but we have that thing inside us. So it's okay if it's simple or complicated. People will listen to good music.
Speaking of that generation, one of the most iconic Malayalam films and scores was Chemin and Salil Chaudhary. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, Chemin songs. Ipo adula Pinnali Pinnali, that song, as I said, it's not a film song. It's not a film song formula at all. And the chorus they have used in that film, "Manathu parakana chembarinde," there is this chorus portion they have used. The first time when I listened to the song, I didn't know any musical arrangement knowledge back then, but I feels like it's coming from somewhere else, and it's not made by human. I mean, it sounds that big. Even the movie also, they wanted that that big setup and everything. So the music, they have used a lot of instruments, a lot of people to sing, and each and every songs are a super hit.
Yeah, yeah.
And Salil Chaudhary composing, or non-Malayali composing this, and this is not a Carnatic or Hindustani kind of songs. This is rooted to the
Yeah.
sea kind of uh, it should be very earthy songs, and he pulled it off like a proper Mallu kind of stuff. It's forever evergreen songs, not like
Yeah.
hit for some time. It's like evergreen songs. It's unbeatable work.
So the next thing is, you said you were more familiar with the Raja era onwards. Yeah. So is it just when obviously you started listening to that generation of music. So this MSV, Chemin, all that you went back and listened to later, or
No, no. The thing is, my father and my entire father's family, even my mom, is like hardcore music listeners.
okay,
We, my father's brother had a auto rickshaw. He was an auto rickshaw driver, so he had this massive cassette collections. So he plays. Chemin is one of the daily songs. And all this MSV Tamil songs and Hindi songs. I don't listen to much Hindi songs now. Whatever I have listened are like from those days or Rahman songs.
okay, okay.
So that's like 24/7 music. My home, so some language or the other.
So when it comes to IlayaRaja, what's the like? I mean, of course, it's an ocean, but if one song defines you for him, what is that?
I would say two songs. One is Tumbiva,
Okay,
Malayalam song.
Olangal, right?
Valangal, yeah.
Yeah.
And what caught me is I remember listening to the songs. We had this tape recorder, and me and my brother loves bass. So we had this equalizer in this thing, and we push it up full because we only want to listen to the bass.
Bass.
Then once this song comes, Tumbiwa is like the bass in that song is like legendary. It's another song itself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Nothing. It's not like a very normal bass pattern. It's on the note mattum, we can play it as another song. It's
Yeah, yeah,
melody.
yeah. So Ilayaraja's bass tunes for bass
Yeah.
are practically like he wrote them almost like an independent. So there's actually three songs in each song of his. It's like So one of my favorite there's there's too many to name, but Megam Kottatum, that Yenakuloruvan song, the bass is something else in that. It's just its own thing, So
Yeah, even this song, no, Poongaatru,
yeah,
adula bass on this double bass. That's like very metalish,
yeah,
and we can easily make a metal cover of that song because it's the
yeah,
guitars and all like he uses like nobody else have used before.
yeah.
And it's the Olangal Tumbiva was a eye opener for me. And then melody wise, Thendral Vandu Theendumbodhu. It
Okay,
used to,
that's a long gap. Olangal is like
yeah, I
early
know.
80s, and this
But
is what, early 90s?
yeah, I listened to Olangal after actually this song.
Oh,
I
Tendral on the Thing.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
By that time, no, I used to only listen to there is this cassette IlayaRaja hits Tamil.
Right.
So there is no Malayalam songs in that song. So Olangal I listened to first. I listened to it in TV. I remember someone else's home TV and the two songs from Olangal. This and Kuliradunnu Manathu,
Yeah,
that song. Then okay, I didn't know it's IlayaRaja because I didn't even know IlayaRaja did music in
right.
Malayalam.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have a TV, we only had this radio and tape recorder. So I then had to arrange this cassette. Then I got to know it's IlayaRaja. Then I started listening to Malayalam IlayaRaja songs. So uh, I got exposed to IlayaRaja basically because of the Tamil song only. Nayagan and Nayagan's background score actually.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I remember the Reddy theme was my favorite. It's something like an Italian film music.
yeah,
Dun,
yeah,
dun, 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 tararara.
yeah, yeah.
Never heard before. I think he got inspired a lot of from Italian police movies, the usage of horns and everything.
Right, right. So by reverse, I again when I discovered Ilayaraja did, because I was listening to Ilayaraja in Tamil, right? So when it was a little difficult to get Telugu, it was slightly easier to get, but Malayalam, I think one of the first songs that I heard was this beautiful song called Tamarakili Padun Taidai
Ah,
Dagadom. You know,
yeah.
that is from
This thing, Munambakam.
Moonambak. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm like, I was just like so thrilled hearing that song because it was like so filled with the Ilayaraja signatures that I knew in Tamil. But yet it was like, it was sounding, when you hear a song in a slightly different language, the language itself becomes like music to you because you don't know all the words and the words become like music. So, like, addition, I mean, because in Tamil, I'd listen to the meaning, obviously, because unconsciously you know the words, right? Whereas here, it was like the whole thing was so beautiful. It was like a great,
Well, that's how, I mean, I used to, even from beginning, I used a lot of Tamil songs. I had absolutely no idea what they are singing about. Even before or other than Johnson Master in Malayalam, I was more into background scores. I told so that is more available in Tamil. IlayaRaja and A.R. Rahman. Background score was like equally good like songs. Where Malayalam, I wasn't that impressed personally, other than Johnson. Johnson Marsh was legendary background
okay.
score. So I was more into Tamil music and Tamil background scores. And this Munambak, I didn't know he did Munambak and everything because I just listened to a song. I judged. Okay, someone else, I don't know. Then after I know, it's like, oh, it's IlayaRaja. Oh, wow, legendary. That perception changed for me. Then I noticed there is a small bit in that song. They have used it in the background score also. താമരക്കിളി പാടുന്നു തൈ തൈ ത തര തര തിരുതുരു.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a small bit, but it's so beautifully gelled with the song. Then I
It's a
started
it's a
exploring.
flute bit, right?
It's a synthesizer kind of a thing, but
Yeah, yeah,
sounds like a flute.
yeah, yeah.
Exploring his patterns, and I noticed that most of his songs has the third line will be the best line of the song. இப்போ தென்றல் வந்து தீண்டும் போது என்ன வண்ணமோ தனனன. Second line தந்தனனனனனனன தரனி தன்னனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனனன வீசுதே நானின் தாரராரிரி, தாரின் தாரநானினே, தானநானநானநானநானே. So he creates that. I think he created that formula of, going high in the third line, and that will take you higher. Just like where level, and the instrumentations are like bass and the use of tabla. I used to hate tabla because of this Hindi songs that time. Tabla and dholak, dum tak dum tak, I used to hate it. Then after IlayaRaja and Vidyasagar, I started loving tabla again. They used it very well. Mostly Vidyasagar used it other than IlayaRaja actually.
So if you were to name like a top 5 IlayaRaja songs for you, what would they be? You already mentioned Tumbiva, so forget that.
Tumbiva, I'll remove. And definitely Tendral Vandu is one of my favorite song all time. And Poongatru,
Yeah.
and Kodaikala Katre, change third line again. Tendral Padantatre, tararara, tararare, na 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 na. That is goosebumps. And Ilangathu Visde. I'm just randomly saying I can name 100.
Yeah.
And Om Sivoham.
Okay.
Om Sivoham, more like a metal song without guitar and drums. It's so trippy and dark and heavy. And
Yeah,
the
yeah,
udukka sound and all, I have never heard that hard before. Thum, 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 thum. Intro na appadi irukadam. Ayyo. There is a lot of things to talk about Raja sir. His the use of strings, orchestration. This what was that film? Lajja. Lajja. He composed the background score. No, so there is this. You remember the intro title, that shawl flying scene? There is this. Either there is a symphony kind of a sound. Budapest Orchestra played, and it's an amazing melody. I think that's the most underrated music from IlayaRaja sir. One of the best of his works.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Actually, I think IlayaRaja composed the songs also for that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, if I'm
I
not
thought it's
mistaken.
only the background score.
Okay, okay.
Someone else is also Anumalik and all is there, I guess.
Is there? Okay.
Yeah,
For
it's,
some reason I remember it as.
I just watched this because IlayaRaja did the background score.
Oh,
So there is this intro melody. It's that is heavenly stuff, and the violin he uses, no, because he knows stuff. He now know to write music, and he conducts music. He knows everything, so he know how to sound, make the violin sound bigger and everything. And the three notes composition. You heard that, no?
yeah.
Yeah, that is.
This Ennio Morricone passed away recently, and he said something interesting in a 1970s or 80s interview. I forget. He said that you cannot call yourself a composer unless you do every last bit of the arranging yourself. So he didn't believe in leaving anything to assistants. He said, if you have to be called a composer, then you have to do from imagining the music to executing every last bit. You have to do it yourself. Do you believe that?
I don't know, because I do everything alone. No assistants. I don't know, but the times changed, because now it's computer music. If you don't know how to program the music, then it's going to be very difficult for you. If you ask me, I am a keyboard programmer, but I don't know how to write or read music. But I know how to compose.
Yeah.
Then I know how to reproduce into from my computer to the film. Someone like me who knows how to compose but don't know the computer program, then he'll have to get another help from another guy.
Okay.
He
Okay.
can produce the music now.
But
So
that is the equivalent of Ilayaraja asking somebody to play the violin or the drums. Isn't that the same thing? Isn't?
the same thing.
Yeah.
We are using a computer as
Yeah.
a, that's it. So I think he's only the composer. I mean, the brain behind the composition is him. And see, if you take a band instead a composer, it's ultimately the music that for Metallica, they compose by jamming together.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's more like a spontaneous act of them playing together, and they fix the music, they produce the music. So who's the composer there? It's Metallica. So it's more like a teamwork. So that's also there.
Right.
So I think it depends upon the ideology behind the music.
Yeah, but I guess because this interview came out, I don't know, like I said, in the 70s or 80s, that was the system then. You basically walked into a room and there were all these musicians and you controlled them. He was like the captain of the ship. You know,
Yeah.
the
Definitely he meant film music.
yeah, yeah. So like he was like he was talking about finishing every last bit, or being that is not leaving it to the assistants to finish and things like that. So yeah.
Yeah, because I know I've composed quite a lot for other music directors when
Right,
I
right.
working under them. So you definitely have meant that also.
Yeah. What have you when see, you basically, what is your there are some films where uh, they use a large score, and sometimes they use a like, let's take Kala Pani, right?
Mm.
That's a big film.
Yeah.
That's like a big score by IlayaRaja. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think a big film like that, of course, there are a million ways to score any film, right? It's like you can do a, but when you look at it, let's say, how would you approach a score like that? Would you go big, or I'm not asking you to compare at all with IlayaRaja. I'm just on your own. Would you go big or would you go small? Would you say, okay, the scenes are already so big, so maybe the music can be small? How does that work?
I would definitely go big for a movie like Kala Pani. I mean,
Okay,
from what I've used as a narrative style, I would definitely go big. But I would have tried something like 300 kind of a music,
okay,
like very contemporary. But Kalapani is Kalapani because of Ilayaraja too. So because he scored that music so freaking good, you you don't you feel that you'll be there, and that
yeah,
love, emotions and everything was perfect. So
right. So I was speaking to somebody. I'm not going to name this person, obviously, but they said that even though, I mean, they said that one thing that you can count on IlayaRaja is to kind of let the audience know what, like, at what moment to feel that punch of that scene, that, to give a score so that the audience will just feel that, like a punch to the face, that whatever is the scene. So that was like a, something like that was said. And this has been seen over and over. So yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Do you want to, like, how does Johnson Marshall fit into this scenario, in this same kind of roughly the same overlapping period, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Johnson Marsh was, see, for instance, for a film like Manichita Thadu, he is more like create an ambience. He creates this. I remember the sound. I watched it in theater. Uh, I don't know how to name that instrument because I don't know what it is. When she opens the door,
Hmm.
there is this door sound itself is scary sound. Then there is this more like a birds chirping sound. If you watch the film, you'll see that everywhere in that Kini room. It's more like a character. He made that sound as reminding us that Nagavali is somewhere around us. There is a sound very subtle. It's not a music. It's more like a sound effect. So he has used it in some other films also. The same sound I've noticed, and that theme. Dun, 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 even if now we chumma hear that music, we get scared. That is the impact he creates with. He's more like a note, not like make it bigger with other instruments. He used a lot of native instruments as the and இப்போ தன் டன் 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 தபலாயில தான் அந்த சவுண்ட் வருது. It's more like a chalanga sound,
Hmm.
but he makes us shiver using all these instruments. And veena, he has used it in single note.
Right.
அது கேட்டாலே like creep out. So he's more like a mood creator for me.
Okay. So thank you for sharing these memories about the MSV and the IlayaRaja Johnson Marsh era, talking a bit about Salil Chaudhary as well. In the next episode, we will talk about Rahman, Santosh Narayanan, and the newer generation, which is actually your generation, if I may say so.
Sure.